to weaving Shakespeare into it through so many films. But you still had that street level sensibility to know what stories people relate to and what they want to see.
See how real I am? I blow my nose, right? You don't see Oliver Stone, who started with me. You don't see him blowing his nose. He's too good to blow his nose, right? I blow my nose. That's how real Uncle Lloyd is.
Thank you for
Like
giving.
Like David Bertolino. He's real, right? He's real. You can talk
Yes.
to him, and have
I,
emotion.
I
Emotion.
just want to thank you for taking the effort out of finding our cold open. So I just found it.
Good one. Thank you.
That's perfect. Thank you,
Oh,
Lloyd.
well, again, another good cold open, a very good jeu de mots, as we say, pun. Cold.
Good evening.
One of the amazing things about the filmmaking process are the stories behind the story. To hear stories of persistence, creativity, surrounding yourself with the right people, sprinkle in a dash of street smarts and a lot of luck. And you're going to see and hear just what it took to create an iconic entertainment venue and intellectual property. On our last episode, we were able to introduce you to our creative team. This week, we have the honor of bringing in an icon of the entertainment industry, a revolutionary whose take no prisoners style of production and filmmaking has helped influence many and launch the careers of some of his alums into the stratosphere. His studio is the longest running independent film production studio in history. But you don't have to take our word for it. To quote the late great Stan Lee, Lloyd's body of work has now proven to be a seminal influence on film today. Just look at any film created by the likes of Quentin Tarantino, Takashi Miike, Peter Jackson, Eli Roth, Gaspar Noé, and James Gunn, to name a few, and you are likely watching a film influenced by The Class of Nukem High, Romeo and Juliet, or Citizen Toxie. Those are the words of Stan Lee, the creator of Spider-Man and the man who helped launch Marvel. Today, we have the honor of introducing you to the producer, writer, director, and along with partner Michael Hertz, owner of Troma Films, the one, the only, Mr. Lloyd Kaufman.
Well, thank you very, very, very much. David Bartolino is an icon. He's one of my best friends, and it's a privilege to do anything that he's involved with.
He definitely knows how to make an impression on people. And I'd like to actually take a part of your career in the 90s when a certain gentleman from the Boston area supposedly started knocking on your door persistently to try to get your attention to work on an endeavor together. Could you go over that a little bit with us?
Well, at the time, we were filming a little movie called Romeo and Juliet, which the Museum of Modern Art recently put in their Shakespeare month. And James Gunn had written the script. It took me about 5 years to get the script going, but James Gunn wrote it. And this guy and Jeff Sass was there. And we all kept getting contacted by a guy who was named David something or other. I didn't know the last name. And he finally, we understood he loved our movies and loved independent movies. And he loved the kinds of, how shall I say it, visionary independent art that nowadays is called content, but is art. And the other thing is, if I'm not mistaken, we had Toxic Crusader costumes for children that came out of his family's business. I think I'm correct in that. I'm not
Really?
sure. Am I?
That would make sense, though, because
Yeah.
David's family's history with Halloween is basically intertwined. He was essentially born into this.
Well,
So
he's a visionary. David Bertolino, you don't meet too many visionaries. And I never got it. Also, the name SpookyWorld, this was Romeo and Juliet was the dawning of piercings and tattoos. And it was my statement in post-war baby boomer generation. And here's David with the Spooky World. What the hell is Spooky World? You know, we
Well,
used to make fun of the name. And
well,
then when we went out there, whoa, what a ride!
I just got it back up and running.
I
So
remember. I remember we got several calls, and the idea was Spooky World. So we figured, well, wait a minute, we're making movies that Romeo and Juliet promotes incest, which, by the way, was the film that from that movie James Gunn wrote. His next career move was to write Scooby Doo, a delightful children's movie. But he put in farting, which I'm sure he got a trauma. In any event, Spooky World to us, we were kind of joking, you know, Spooky World. And it wasn't until we actually got there that we all realized, wow, this is terrific. This is really what America's all about. It's American, right? It's really American.
it's
And
the whole story literally is
yeah,
it's and to know that he joined forces with you, who is a driving force behind independent vision. Spooky World very much had that same tenacity to it that went into your filmmaking. Um, could you go into the first time you met David? What was your impression of him?
David, I think I met him in jail. He was my bitch, and I spent all my cigarette money on him. Um, But then I came out to Spooky World. I think the first time I came out there was with Jeff Sass to just see it. And it was terrific. And David's the nicest guy. At that time, I think he weighed 600 pounds, but the sweetest, nicest guy, you know, just really good guy. And, you know, well, and especially in 1993, neither Troma nor James Gunn were well, Troma's still the same Troma, but James Gunn is now James Gunn. You know, it's like Stan Lee. When I first met Stan Lee after I got out of Yale, he was he wasn't you know, he wasn't the same Stan Lee that is in Guardians of the Galaxy
It,
with
it's
me, of course.
it's mind blowing to know that how many ships that both of you have helped launch. I mean, James Gunn, are we talking about $1 billion director right now?
Yeah, we sure are. And good news, the uh, Suicide Squad. You will see Uncle Lloydie there, unless James cut me out. He did cut me out of his Slither movie, but
Did we just get an exclusive here that you are going to be in the next Suicide Squad movie?
that is exclusive. I think you got an exclusive, except it would if James has cut me out of at least one of his movies. Although I think I'm in all the other ones, but we'll
You
see.
think that's going to be his
We'll
running
see.
gag with you?
Well, James told me that, and we should stay on Spooky World. But I remember at one point he told me that that he got a lot of pushback from fans who had seen Slither, and they saw me in the police station playing a bum. But my line, like, excellent. I did an amazing improv, and the whole crew clapped and all that. But unfortunately, it had nothing to do with the story. So James cut me out.
So
But you see me there. So he he told me that he got a lot of pushback from my fans. And I
I
don't have that many fans,
I
but
just
they're
can't
very
believe
aggressive.
how I just can't believe how literally it seems like the Berlin Spooky World location was a bit of a launching point for a lot of people in directions that they didn't anticipate going or even achieving, which is it's kind of crazy. It's this serendipity that took place in that little town outside of Boston.
But
Um,
wasn't it also a place where people held their nuptials, if I'm not mistaken? A
I
certain singer
believe we
who'd like
may
to.
I believe we may be having a little bit of info on that come this fall in the documentary.
Ah,
We may, in fact, have footage of it.
there you go. And I think if I remember correctly, it was somebody who was kind of tiptoeing around some flowers. But I could have that wrong. I got a bad memory. It took a
Yeah,
lot of took a lot of acid in the '60s.
only the
Now,
good stuff, my
who
friend.
else did I meet there? Wait a minute. What, Alice Cooper? Did I meet him at Spooky World?
Hmm. He was one of
Yes.
the many guests there. To know that Trauma teamed up with Spooky World to me was just amazing. I remember hopping on that hayride, and all of a
Mhm.
sudden I see a Tromaville sign
Yeah.
and the Toxic Avenger come out to me. I want to see how that all came to fruition here. Could you tell us about a little bit of the engineering that went on behind the scenes when it came to getting this deal done? Did I know David went down to your offices, banged on the door? You probably had to call the cops on him 40 times to have him go away.
No
Um,
way, no
oh, he's
way.
tenacious is his middle name. He's just like you two. You two were peas in a pod. Uh, when it came to that, how did he approach you about what the art of that deal would be?
I think he wanted to try to do something to promote Spooky World, and as luck would have it, we were toward the end of filming Romeo and Juliet. So I think David had the idea to do a contest, and the winner would get to have a walk on in Romeo and Juliet.
And that
I'm
was
pretty
with
sure that's.
Fangoria, right?
Oh, well,
Believe that was Fangoria
it could
magazine.
be, could be. I that part I don't remember, but I remember David. He really got into it. He had and he told us what that he was going to put Toxie in the Spooky World and during the hayride, and I didn't even know what a hayride is, to quite frankly. So I'm from I live on a piece of cement, Manhattan. There's no hay and there's no ride. So there's plenty of crack cocaine, but that's about it. So, David, and Troma was very open. I mean, we're delighted, anything to promote. So this was terrific. And, but we had no idea we'd actually be part of the ride because, again, the movies we make are hardly not for family viewing. So how much courage did David Bertolino show in not only having the Toxic Avenger, but there was a little area called Tromaville where as you rode by, suddenly this sign, almost a giant "Welcome to Tromaville" sign comes up out of the ground, and almost, the cart almost runs into it. Very exciting.
Yeah.
I really wish we had cell phones in those days so we could have filmed all that stuff. And we might, I don't know if we did. I mean, we did film a scene there, but not on the hayride. I don't know whether we had cameras.
So was that with James that you filmed a scene up at Spooky World?
I'm pretty sure James Gunn and Jeff Sass, who was with us, and Jeff Sass was kind of the father of the Toxic Crusader cartoons, and he and I wrote Sergeant Kabuki Man together. And Jeff, I think Jeff was over. He loved Spooky World. Yeah, I think he may have gone up there before I did to scout. I can't. It's been a while.
Oh yeah,
Time.
It's kind of crazy to think that it's been so long since everybody was up at that location.
But Spooky World has a huge footprint on the cultural landscape of the time since 19 whenever and now. Troma's. We kept going back just because we had a great time. In fact, I think, we had kids, little kiddies, and we took them on the hayride. And it was just wonderful, wonderful. Just sweet, totally sweet, the best.
Well, it runs downhill, right? It starts at the top, and just like you with your company, you've helped.
We've gone downhill, yeah.
Yeah, we're going straight downhill, Lloyd.
My 50th year of film, a 50th year of film, and my latest film is all about that. It's my version of The Tempest, which is about an old man who's losing power and sort of he gets banished, and I get pushed deeper and deeper into the reeds of the underground. So I wanted to shoot The Tempest. We called it #Shakespeare's Shitstorm. It's finished and waiting for COVID to finish. But I wanted to shoot that instead of Romeo and Juliet, but I wasn't old enough. I wanted to wait till I could really feel Prospero, which I can definitely do now.
So you've had Shakespeare Shitstorm on ice for
it's
close to 30 years.
The title is called the #Shakespeare Shitstorm.
And we're going
it was just in my head buzzing around since Romeo and Juliet, but now it's finished and it's in some film festivals, and hopefully the theaters will open back up. Although recently the drive-ins have been calling. They've been playing Toxic Avenger, Class of Nukem High, Romeo and Juliet. They've been playing our classics because, people don't want to see the baby food movies.
Well, it's amazing to actually see how they started out of survivalism.
Isn't that
all of a
great?
sudden this great
Yeah,
nostalgia is coming back.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I've
That's right.
I have partook in the drive-in quite a bit over the past year. But at the end of the day, we were talking about before we started recording, some of the independent theaters here, and some of them who are friends of this film, friends of
Where are
you.
you? Where are you, by the
I'm
way?
in Boston.
Aha! So that's
Yeah.
where we met at the Coolidge Corner Cinema.
Yep, my friend
Yeah,
Mark
yeah.
Anastasio, I was speaking
Yep.
with last night, who we
Oh,
are discussing the future of the Spooky World film when it comes to a Boston premiere right now.
oh, he's the
And
best.
he,
He's the best.
I will never forget how kind you and Pat were that night when I met you both when you were the first, hold on, let's say it here, folks, the first recipient of the Coolidge After Midnight Award.
And that award is one of the very few we have in our home.
Really?
I should have. I didn't know. I just didn't think of it. But
It's okay. I insert photos everywhere in these things.
Oh, great, great.
The beauty of post, correct?
But you and I talked about at that time. We mentioned David. Somehow we knew. We each knew that we knew
Mhm.
David Bertolino. So the Spooky World topic came up, and how we have a great history with that theater because we were banned from the Coolidge Corner Cinema in Boston for about 10 years because Sergeant Doug Sackman, who was playing Sergeant Kabuki Man when we showed Sergeant Kabuki Man there, he projectile vomited from the back of the theater right up to the second row, which did not please whoever. It wasn't Mark, was not there. He wasn't even born at that time. But we were not allowed back until Mark. Actually, Mark was the first time in a long since Kabuki Man's.
Well, Mark knows how to roll out the red carpet.
Well, we are still legendary in that with the fan base there. They still talk about the projectile vomiting of. Luckily, we didn't bring Doug Sackman to Spooky World. So,
I don't think that the cider at the end of the hayride would have agreed with him very much.
no, I hung out with some very bad boys in those days. Very bad boys. When we took road trips, it was not the same clean, jolly atmosphere of Spooky World. Spooky World had the best, I think, of the horror genre that was truly hashtag truth and love. You know, it wasn't full of slashing and all that kind of stuff. You know, it was fun. It's fun. It's like I mean, Troma movies are fun. They're not scary, and they're not. The violence is Tom and Jerry kind of violence. We've never had any violence that looks like Die Hard, that looks real. You know, we never had any of that.
I
We
will
do have.
say,
Yeah, go on.
I will definitely say that that's maybe one of the best assessments I've had of it because David and I have spoken in the past about there is some violence out there that can be disturbing, and you're worried about your audience. Like, will
Sure.
they go home afraid? Will they go home happy? And
Mhm.
David's always tried to make everybody go home happy.
Oh yeah,
And he accomplished that, and Spooky World did too. And you're right, you both are actually a perfect marriage because the what you utilized for the violence was it wasn't even violence. It was you're right, Tom and Jerry slapstick.
yeah. It's just
Like, it
goofy.
was so over the top, you
Yeah,
know.
I mean, here's Toxie behind me. He's just a piece of rubber, basically.
Yeah,
That's look at I put a towel in there to try to keep the thing up. But the fans like the fact that it's low key. You know, they're sort of peeking behind the curtain. But
always.
getting back to Spooky World, David was really producing a show every night, every day, or every night rather, and I know he produced the Deep Throat off Broadway show, if I'm not
Mhm.
correct. Yeah.
Believe it was
So
the Deep Throat Sex Scandal.
there
That
you
was what it
go.
was called.
And terrific. And the Toxic Avenger musical played a year in New York, and it's been out in L.A., but only I think 2 weeks or something. But it's all over. It's opening. In fact, it's coming to Boston. I just got a note from David Bryan, who's the Bon Jovi keyboard guy who wrote the music. But the commissioner and I are thinking about. In fact, we talked to David and Joe DiPietro. We were interested in putting on a very small production of it, bring it back to New York in a tiny theater. And if we do, my first call will be to Mr. David Bertolino because he knows a hell of a lot about producing live entertainment. And the Toxic Avenger musical is they took the kind of dark humor of Toxic Avenger, and but they mainstreamed it the same way the cartoons were mainstreamed, so that the little old ladies who go to matinees and the guys with tattoos and barbells through their noses or whatever, they all loved it, and it went a year, and it went to the West End in London for 2 different theaters, and went about a year there between the 2 theaters. So I think we want to try to put it together. We were just organizing it when COVID hit, but the commissioner and I were saying we should first call should be David Bertolino, who we see in LA quite frequently. He was kind enough to take us to Dan Tana, a restaurant which we could never afford.
only the finest from David Bertolino, and everybody knows that.
He's the best, no question about it.
This is
really is. He's a good guy. You don't, especially in our entertainment business. I've said it many times. The 99% are just scum of the earth, and then the other 1%, or even less than 1%, like David and James Gunn and Eli Roth, and I mean they're the best. They're John Voight. There's a small number who you won't meet better people
in this world. Especially in the industry that you folks are involved in, who your friends are real quick, because they're the ones that are there for you when the times are tough.
Yes, indeed. And there aren't many of them, but as I say, they're a small number of the best people. Mr. Bertolino, luckily he's not listening to this, so I can say nice things about him.
David is nowhere listening to this right now.
But I wouldn't say anything good about him.
It's weird. It's like he's an omnipresent force that's always around us. Yeah. But
they don't call him Bird.
Well, I'll say this. This is the second podcast in a row that somebody has mentioned the incredible dining experiences that they have had with David Bertolino. So we're 2 for 2. I'm hoping to have the next one be the same way.
Excellent.
Oh, only the finest.
Well, we've had a life experience with David Bertolino. And my kids remember, they were little. I don't even think we had the third one. I get the years all mixed up, but they still talk about SpookyWorld. I know we have photographs somewhere. I'm a Slavic.
Well, it's amazing you bring up your family, because one of the things that we're really focusing on here, because it's really the thing that pops in your face with this film, is the fact that it's family, that the bonds that are made, that it transcends every generation, every race, every gender. Everybody would walk up to the gates, walk in, and just have a good time from 8 to 80.
And it was packed. The crowds were huge. It was really people lining out all the way to the highway.
So you remember sitting in that traffic then?
Sure. Of course I do.
Oh my God. This little town was invaded.
Yeah, Berlin, Massachusetts. Exactly. Yeah, it was amazing. By the way, the people who work, you go to Disneyland and the people are like, they don't want to be there, the workers. And the hayride, the Halloween hayride, all these young people, they were just having such a good time, and they were so nice and so pleasant and nice to everybody. It wasn't just that, Troma is sort of known. They like being there. That's wonderful. It's like the Alamo theaters. Sorry, it's white. I don't like to have white. I never have white things on my set because the eye goes right to it.
Yeah.
But everybody loved David. Everybody loved the Spooky World. It was really a team, like the Troma team. The crews we have, they're not there for money. They're there for the experience, and because they believe in what we're doing and that we're making a one-of-a-kind movie. And boy, Spooky World was exactly that, a one-of-a-kind production. It was a production every night, like putting on a show.
For 31 straight days, and people didn't understand that 11 more months were involved in that, making that happen.
Yeah, sure.
Literally never taking a day off.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. It was quite evident. We were astounded. Absolutely, our socks were knocked off.
So can I ask you this?
In fact, I think I had to change my underpants the first time. I actually got kind of scared at one point.
I think that he should have sold underwear in the store along with your Troma merch.
Replacement underwear.
But what do you think that the lasting legacy on entertainment and these haunted attractions that Spooky World and David provided for us, because I know in the convention scene, we had never had anything like this before, where we could meet celebrities in
Mm.
Massachusetts so easily and so readily available. And then after that, it seemed like everybody started taking off with the idea.
Well, the thing you should know, as far as I'm concerned, and I've been doing this for 50 years, there were no haunted houses, and everywhere you go now, there's a haunted house or a haunted attraction, and Spooky World was way ahead of its time, no question about it. And to this day, I don't even I can't. I mean, it was so much more ambitious. The haunted house is inside, and you go through corridors, and sort of the same stuff. Spooky World had this amazing variety, and just being outside and being in the wagon, and the whole thing was just a real organic, emotional, in a good way, experience, and you came out of it feeling delighted. Just so much. You had fun, and yeah, and my guess is that he influenced that Spooky World influenced a lot of they're all over the country. I get invited, I go to some of them because people hire me to shake hands and stuff. But the Spooky World, I don't think there's anything that comes close to Spooky World.
I the name recognition David was very aware of. He knew the power that the Troma
Mm.
name had. And he was smart enough to bring that in. He was smart enough to say, hey, let's bring Fangoria into this.
You said, "Hey, that's a good pun.
Right?
Good jeu de mots, as we
I'm
say."
I'm 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 learning from you, sir. I'm learning from you, sir.
Very nice,
On the
very
fly.
nice guy, Anthony.
I'm trying. I don't need, oh, come on. I have the opportunity to speak to Lloyd Kaufman right now. This is a dream come true
Thank
to
you.
me. I
Thanks a
really
lot.
appreciate it. And Dave's helped facilitate a lot of dreams.
He
And
sure has, no question about it. He's nice to everybody. Doesn't matter who you are. It's Stan Lee. He's like Stan Lee. Stan Lee was, and James Gunn, same thing. He's a good guy. They're good guys. They like people. They're happy to. And the good part is, if you stay nice with people, you stay in the trenches like Stan Lee and David Bertolino. You become more successful because you hear what are they interested in. What do they like? What don't they like? These people that are up in these stars who stay up in the suite, or at Cannes, they're at the Cap d'Antibes with their god, the god of Cannes Film Festival, Harvey Weinstein, right? They don't even go out, and they have no idea what the public is like. I'm, in that regard, I'm happy to be in the underground.
it very much correct, because it spares us a lot of misery.
Yeah, plus
And
it's fun. Everybody has a story. Everybody, right? Everybody,
Mhm.
bus driver, everybody has. And my wife and I have talked about this a lot. Everybody's interesting. There's nobody who's not interesting.
Everything that you put on film, the tongue-in-cheek aspect to, that street level common man
Mhm.
sensibility, and knowing what people want to see and what people want to hear, because you stay in touch with people. I think that that's one of the reasons that you and David melded so perfectly, your relationship over time. You tell the truth, you treat people good, you succeed, but the success is just the icing on the cake. It's the bonds and the visions that are seen to come to fruition that you folks help facilitate, and you build people up. And that's the amazing part. And kindred spirits, they say. That's what
Yeah,
you and David are.
I mean it's fun. We're opening a movie with Lemley called Slashing Two. We have Slashing One. I produced this movie by Brandon Bassam, and he's new. He wrote the hashtag Shakespeare Shitstorm, and the guy is really, he could be the next James Gunn. And I got Lemley to book it, and I'm getting a PR person, and we're going to push it. And I think he's got a shot, and it's exciting. And maybe I can get cameos in his film.
And
That's
hopefully
about
not get cut.
yeah.
So, uh, in closing, I just want to make sure that people know the impact that you've had on film, and what David has also helped to do for folks, to help keep nurturing and fostering people, just like you said. It's all about bringing people up, sending the elevator back down. Um, and those qualities have been in Lloyd Kaufman and in Pat for years, and David as well. What are your final thoughts on David Bertolino and his legacy?
Well, my guess is that it's a perfect timing because based on our movies, in fact, Romeo and Juliet, which in the end credits, it has a very prominent thank you. But the scene, Romeo and Juliet's back. It's constantly either in Blu-ray or movie theaters, Museum of Modern Art. People from the most conservative to the craziest, however, punk or whatever, they all enjoy it, and they all have seen that scene from Spooky World, and they've seen the name Spooky World, and Romeo and Juliet's been licensed all over the world. And I think now is the perfect time. I can't imagine a better time for a Spooky World documentary or a movie or I think the life story, the biography, the biopic of David Bertolino. From the humble beginnings of the costume industry comes a new giant in the form of live entertainment. Yes, David Bertolino, bigger than life itself, but small enough to touch each and every one of us. The David Bertolino story. How's that? How's that elevator pitch? Since you talked about elevators,
I think we're going to have to cut you a check.
You'd be the first. You'd be about the first. There aren't many coming.
There's one more thing I want to loop around because we have Tom Savini now. As Tom Savini is our executive producer of this film, and
wow,
that's
great.
Wow,
he's a very good guy, nice guy.
He is the influence.
He's a good guy. He's just like you guys, a nice guy who loves movies.
He is. I've had the pleasure of meeting him a few times, and he's been very respectful to me. And he looks you in the eye. He tells you the truth.
Oh my God! And he looks great. I can't believe it. 90 years old. He looks so good. It's amazing. Tell him Uncle Lloyd he said that.
I'm not sure if I want to be the messenger on that.
Yeah, maybe don't tell him.
But he, honestly, for his age, I really hope
he's
that I'm
amazing.
in that shape. That's incredible.
We hang out at the different conventions, and he's in incredible shape, and he looks great. He's again, in terms of film history, he's. I mean, Troma's nothing. He's huge. I mean, he has changed the whole world of cinema. I mean, really. Not to mention he's a movie star as well as a brilliant effects artist.
Sex Machine may be one of the most iconic characters in movie history.
I'm with you. No question about it.
But it's that sensibility to bring Tom on board, to bring you on board, that separated Dave from the rest of the pack and Spooky World from the rest of the pack. And Dave said in our last interview with him and our director, Quinn, that whenever I'm in a room, 99% of the people are smarter than me. And I also relate to that. You surround yourself with people who know what they're doing. And if you're a genuine good person and you communicate well, people will help see your visions come through as well. And David never forgets who helped him. And I know he doesn't forget you. And likewise, it sounds like that you don't never forget Dave. That's why we're sitting here today.
No, he's a good guy. I'll do anything for him. But I have to say, if you watch the behind-the-scene movies of Poultry Guy's Night of the Chicken Dead, it's a documentary called Poultry in Motion. You watch the behind-the-scenes. I'm a total asshole occasionally. We have an hour and a half of unvarnished truth, and I'm not so nice to the people. And you kind of wonder what the hell are these people sticking around for? But once I'm out of the movie, I'm pretty nice. And actually, on hashtag Shakespeare's Shitstorm, my wife was there as one of the producers, and she, the commissioner, is sort of a Lloyd whisperer and calmed me down a bit. So I think I was nicer on that one. But I'm not. I'm sure I'm not as pleasant as James Gunn or Tom, or definitely not as pleasant as David Bertolino. I've never seen him upset. He's a nice, absolutely a prince, prince among men.
He really is. I mean, it's one of the few phone calls that I get every day that I say, and I've told him this. I said, it's one of the few that I look forward to because I know it's good news.
Well,
you
when
know?
you guys are after COVID, if you're coming to New York, come and visit Tromaville. David knows we've told him that we have a guest room with his plaque on the door anytime. Same with
Oh,
you, Anthony. So
uh,
come visit.
Lloyd, I appreciate that. As a matter of fact, I actually have right here a few years ago, how I met David was I just wanted a pin. I lost a pin to Spooky World and I found him online. And we started talking back and forth about Spooky World, all of those things about Boston, because we're Boston guys.
Sure.
Um,
Wow, that's my gosh. I had no idea. I would have treated you with much more respect had I known you were a
that's
graduate of Troma.
that's actually David Bertolino's Tromaville Junior College.
Oh, it's David's. Wow, look at
That is
that.
David's.
Well, there you are. There's even more. I don't like to be too intellectual, but I think this has taken a turn into the scholarly wheelhouse, shall I say? My
Eat your heart out, Juilliard.
heavens. Terrific.
And so I am so appreciative of the time you spent with us today.
Well,
This is for me a dream come true. You
well,
are amazing. It's nice to see you again. Send my love and my best to Pat.
I shall
It
indeed.
was one of the highlights of my years meeting both of you a few years ago. You were so incredibly kind, and the influence that you have on furthering independent film is going to be felt forever. It really is. People need to have the spirit you have, and that's why you and David got along so well. I can see that.
Well,
Um,
FANTOXIC, and you have made a sad old drunk very happy. Please give David a big kiss on the lips for me.
I will. I will. I heard he got his second shot. I got mine. Let's party.
Did you have the Madonna shot? That's the
I
cool.
got the Madonna one.
Yeah,
I did.
that's the hip shot. The other one is kind of bourgeois.
No, it's yeah, all the highfalutin folks. They all,
Yeah.
you know how it goes.
Yeah. My wife gave me a haircut yesterday. Not bad, right?
Looking sharp.
75-year-old man. Yeah, she wanted it to look like a kind of Bob Dylan but unfortunately, I have very thin hair. Sorry,
So-
I'm a narcissist. I only talk about myself. I apologize.
So not only does she run basically the entire New York Film Commission, but
Well, she's retired. She retired.
She did.
Yeah.
So not only does she do that, but she can also give you a haircut.
Isn't that great? She can do
That's
anything.
incredible.
You talk about smarter people in the room. Pat Sweeney Kaufman, she is smart. And when she was commissioner for 20 years, she was just as nice to the student filmmaker as she was to Oliver Stone or Scorsese or Woody Allen. In fact, she introduced Woody Allen to Terry Jones, who was a friend of mine for 30 or 40 years, the late Terry Jones. In fact, we dedicated #Shakespeare Shitstorm to Terry Jones. And if David Bertolino had died, we would have added him to the dedication. But luckily, he's still alive.
We can put that on hold for a while, hopefully.
I hope so.
We need to get another dinner out of him.
I'm a little dark. I'm a little bit dark. Sorry.
You speak my language, Lloyd. Trust
Yay!
me.
Well, it's good. It's dark times, so it's dark times. We have free speech as long as we don't say anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what #Shakespeare Shitstorm is all about.
Really?
That's half of the underlying theme. But anyway, you guys got to probably terminate. I can go on.
No. I'm just gonna say thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
You are the best, and continued success and good health to you and Pat.
You too.
you.
Truth and love. Truth and love.
And
That's my advice to you, young folks.
And
Works every time.
#Shakespeare Shitstorm as well.
Yay! Yippee!
I got you covered, pal.
Thank you. Well, let's keep in touch. Come visit us in New York.
I would love to. That would be an honor.
Cool.
Good evening.